Hello, my name is Kaylin. I am a violist in chamber, and we're just gonna work on Vortex a little bit. Specifically, I'm gonna work on the first section, like measures 1 through kind of into 61 before it changes to the slower part. Throughout this whole section, it's just really good to remember about articulation. Like, for example, in measure 19, when the violists get the melody, when we finally get the melody, make sure that you do articulate the right notes. Now, like, for example, when you see in measure 19, you see that the quarter notes, the A and the D, have staccato on top. Just make sure that those are very separated, while also the B right after the D is accented, and you really want to make that obvious. So, for example, something like that. And really do make sure not to do this whole thing where, well, don't make the A long and then the other one short. Make sure you make both of those notes short. Sorry. Also, let's just kind of go back to the beginning. When you are playing the half notes and you see how there's like crescendos and you're gradually crescendoing. Sorry, I can't talk today. Do make sure that you do start at the dynamic that it is marked. So, for example, so like as you crescendo, you want to start a piano and you want to crescendo, but then you want to come back down a little bit and then crescendo from there. You want to start like all the way back from piano and then keep crescendoing and then go back to piano, you know? Just crescendo and gradually crescendo, and make sure the more intense you get, the more louder you get. Put a little bit more vibrato. It's going to make it sound a little bit better. And then the divisi part, that is up to the section that you're in, if you're top or bottom or whatever. Alright, so let's kind of go on to after the melody, where it's just the eighth notes. These eighth notes, make sure that you do play off the string. Give it kind of like a bouncy kind of feel. Also do pay attention to these dynamics as well. They're going to be kind of the same idea as the beginning with the half notes, except now you're going to be playing the subdivision. Now, because I just said you're playing the subdivision, please make sure that you are on top of the tempo. That doesn't mean to rush, and that doesn't mean slow down. You have to make sure that you are subdividing, because most likely when you're playing sections like this where you're playing just straight eighth notes like that, you're the subdivision, so all the other sections are going to be listening to you. So you have to make sure that you're watching Mr. or Mrs. Cato or whoever the conductor is, and make sure that you are staying with the tempo, not slowing down or speeding up. That's just something really important. So like I said, just play these eighth notes off the string. So for example, 27. Now, what I just played, measures 35 and 36, if you want to look at that. There is difference in styles from 35 and 36. 35, it just has accents on it, so what you want to do is not only are you going to accent, but with that idea you want to have space in between the notes. You don't have to play it staccato though. What you should do, play those notes with the whole bow, but with space. So just something like this. Just lots of bow, but space, and of course you're very, very loud. Be very loud because it is fortissimo. And at that moment, the whole orchestra is playing really loud, so you're going to be playing loud with everyone else. Now, in 36, it says, has little dots on top, so staccato. So instead of using the whole bow, just use a short amount of bow, and make sure that it's short, still loud. So, and I would recommend keep your bow on the string. Just keep it short, loud, and then, 8 measures of rest. Now, for the 8 measures of rest, what I do recommend is that the way I count and the way that I usually have the viola section count it is kind of do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2, 2, 3, 4, and then so on. So 3, 2, 3, 4. It kind of just keeps you a bit little more organized in your head with counting. And then by the time you get to 8, 2, 3, 4, that's when you know, hey, we're about to come in. So at that time, I usually just look at the conductor, kind of watch how many times she goes down, because you know how every down, that's the downbeat, so it's a new measure. Just be very careful when you count these. You don't want to come in early, you don't want to come in too late, and also just look at the conductor. She's going to help cue you in. Usually it's Mrs. K, that's why I say she. Alright, so looking at 45, it's almost the same kind of idea as 19. Short. Make sure that the notes with the dots on top or short, don't play them long, or else you're going to be probably sticking out from your other section. So if we were just starting at 45. And do follow the fingerings when there is a open for the open D. Just play open. Don't try to be fancy and play the fourth finger. Just play open. It's easier, and honestly, that's probably the sound that Mr. and Mrs. Cato wants us to have, rather than close. Also, just make sure keep listening to the B, because just crossing strings and going from the A to the D, sometimes someone can play really flat or really sharp. Just kind of make sure that that is in tune. And if you want, go ahead and tune the B with an open D. And that's when you know when it's in tune. Now, just kind of experiment if you're trying to find where it's in tune. Just kind of slide around and try to find where it sounds, open, in tune. I don't know how else to say it. That's when you know it's in tune. And just make sure that note's in tune, because it will stick out since it's going up in a higher register. Now, going on, also C sharps. It's an accidental, so you kind of want to be in tune for those. Just watch out for those. Kind of circle them in your part to make sure that you are looking out for those and making sure that they are in tune. Now, to go on just a little bit, 53 and on before 61, same idea as the beginning. You are starting soft and crescendoing, and the more you go further, crescendo more and more each time, just to make it a little bit more interesting each time. But in this part, if you will notice in measure 55, and the rest that you have under it has a retard. So be very, very careful, because Mrs. K is going to slow down. So what I did is just draw some eyeglasses in to make sure that you are looking up for that with the retard, and making sure that you're slowing down with everyone else. And at the same time, making sure that you're doing those dynamics, because those are very important as well. In measure 60, just make sure that D flat, that you do have it high enough, because it's leading in to measure 61 with that C. So that's really all I have to say about this section. While there should be other videos with the other sections with the other violas, I'm just going to play it through once to give you an idea of how it should sound like. And if I mess up, people mess up. But let's aim to, be a little bit perfect. Just going to play through this first section with everything that we've kind of talked about. I'm not going to count the rest. I'm just going to rely on that you know how to count to 4 or count to 8. Let's move on to measure 19. Alright, moving on to measure 45. And that is the first section. Hopefully that everything makes sense to you with styles, with dynamics, and just with certain notes that you should really pay attention to. Hopefully this video was helpful. See you guys later.